Hey guys, what's up? This is JRP77 from JGN Games, and I'm going to be doing kind of a miscellaneous tutorial, not involved in a series or anything, but because it's the holidays, I decided I'd make something, I don't know, Christmassy. So, happy holidays, guys, from JGN Games. I hope you guys enjoyed that intro. I made that video specifically for this. This is going to be the last tutorial in 2015. I'll get back in 2016 in January, but I'm going to take a break so I could spend time with my family during this Christmas time. Alright, so what I'm going to be going for in this is I'm going to be going for this. Oh crap, that image is small. You can see how, like, it's the ball ornament. We all know what it looks like. That's what I'm going for. And we're going to use this, and we're going to make that into this. Now, this didn't take me very long. It was just a pretty quick thing, but I'm going to show you guys how to do this. We're going to be using also the cycles compositing so we can make some more complex tutorials as we did in, the Blender intro series, Blender internal versus cycles. We're going to be using cycles so we can get that really cool glow, and also so we can get these goldish effects. So without further ado, let's jump into Blender. Before we get started, don't forget to check out our website. There will be an annotation up there as well as a link in the description. Don't forget to follow us on, well, not follow us, subscribe to us, because if you subscribe, you won't miss a tutorial. And then don't forget to check out us on social media: Instagram, Twitter, Google+. Instagram is at JGN_Games, Twitter is at JGN Games, and Google+ is JGN Games. So without further ado, let's get started. So first of all, I'm pretty sure that the ball ornament isn't square, so I'm going to just hit X and delete that. I'm going to hit Shift A, and I'm going to add a UV sphere. Now that's looking good. If I hit 0 on my numpad, or if you're emulating the numpad, you hit the 0 on your number key. To emulate your numpad, you hit Command, comma, or Control, comma, so that you open up the Blender user preferences. You can also go up to that by clicking Blender, actually, Window. I forgot how you get there. It's File, User Preferences. You click on that, you go to Input, and Emulate Numpad, and that will allow you to use the main keys on the top rather than the numpad, and because most laptops don't have that. Alright, so now I'm pretty sure that's not how big we want our ornament to be, so I'm going to scale it up, and I'm also going to move it towards about the center. So we don't want it to be that flat, so I'm going to go over to my modifiers. I'm going to go Subdivision Surface, and then I'm going to smooth it from there. Now 1 is enough, because if you do 2, that's 8,000 vertices, and that will start slowing us down later. So I'm just going to do 1, and I'm also going to do Optimal Display. Nah, never mind. I'm just going to keep Subdivide on. I'm going to hit Apply, and now let's start making the ornament. So I'm going to zoom in, and I'm going to hit Shift A, and I'm going to add a cylinder. I'm going to move this cylinder up. This is just for detail. You don't have to do this, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit 7, then 5, so I can see where this is on there. I'm going to move this to about the center, and I'm going to scale it down a ton. I just like doing this because it makes it look more like an ornament. I'm going to move this all the way down so that it's just coming out of the top, and then I'm going to duplicate this by hitting Shift D, Z, and I'm going to move it up to about right there, and then I'm going to scale this on the Z axis, move this down, scale this up like that, a little bit down there, and I'm going to move it down right there. Now this is just for added detail. Like I said, you don't have to do this, but it's just a pet peeve. So now let's start doing this. I'm going to hit Tab to enter edit mode. I'm going to hit 1, and I'm going to start selecting vertices. Now I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to select every other vertice. So I'm just going to go like this, just go all the way around and select every other vertice. This shouldn't take long, so I won't fast forward it or anything. So yeah. Now that we've got every ornament selected, we are going to hit G on the and then Z and move it down on the X axis like that. Now you'll see it gives us all these dark spots. We do not want that, so I'm going to hit scale, and when you scale vertices, it should do like that, and then from there, I'm just going to move it down some more. You'll still get these errors, just don't worry about them. It's not that big of a deal. So now we've got that, and because I'm going for added detail, I'm going to go into face select by hitting, can I do alt? I don't know how to do that, so shift click. That's cool. I don't know what that did, but that was cool. Alright, so now I'm going to go to face select. I'm going to click on this. Is it control click? No, never mind. And then I'm going to hit I. And by hitting, and I'm going to hit 0.75. Nope, 0.1. Just like that, and then I'm going to hit 1, and I'm going to hit Z so I can see the entire thing, and I'm going to move it down to where it's underneath. So what I'm trying to get is this effect right up here, where it dips down and then it comes back up, because most ornaments have something like that for stability. And then I'm going to hit Z again, because I think that's deep enough, and then I'm going to hit I, 0.2, I'm going to hit 1, then Z again, and I'm going, nope, I just moved my keycaster around, and then I'm just going to click on the Z axis and move it up above. So that's a really simple way to get like that indentation. I'm going to move it up just a tad more, and yeah, so now we're almost done with the modeling stage. I'm going to hit 0 to see how it looks proportionally. That's way too small on the top, so I'm going to scale it up. Alright, that looks perfect. Now that I look at it, I'm going to just get it because you're not going to be able to see it. If you were using it for like 3D, I don't know, something, and it was really small, I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of that first cylinder. So ignore that. Alright, so now we need a way to do that little bendy thing on the top. And I've actually found a pretty cool way to do it using the array modifier and the curve modifier. I cover both of those in my Blender Modifiers tutorial series. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but this is a really easy way to get that curve effect on the top. So I'm going to jump in. I'm going to hit Shift A, cylinder, and then I'm going to just move it up, and I'm going to hit scale 0.1, because I found that to be pretty good. And now, actually, I'm going to hit scale 0.5. Yeah. GZ. I can't even see that. So I'm just going to bring it back up to right there. So now I'm going to hit Shift A, not while I'm in Tab, because then that will add it. I'm going to hit Shift A, and I'm going to add a curve. Just a path. Now I covered this as well. I covered this in the curve tutorial, but I'm not going to go into too much depth. I'm going to hit 7, and I'm going to position this right above that center point. It doesn't need to be exact, but I just like making it exact because then I can see it. Then I'm going to scale. It only can scale on the x-axis because it's a line, and it's flat. And then I'm just going to hit 3. Move it down. Alright, so now I'm going to hit Tab. Now if you've seen our modifier on the curve, curves and stuff, you will know that you have to enter, by entering Tab is where you can enter a curve. So I'm going to select this first point, and I'm going to move it down right there. I'm going to select the second point, and I'm going to move it down right like that. And I'm also going to move it in because I was off just a tad. And then I'm going to take this very center one, and I'm just going to drag it up. That's looking good. I'm going to hit GZ so I can get full control. I'm going to move it up like that. But I don't like that much, so I'm going to click on both of these vertices right here. GZ. Move these up to about right there. And scale X. And move like that. And that is a really simple way to get a curve like that. So now, if I hit Shift Z to enter rendered mode, you'll see that nothing appears. That's because we haven't added an object to follow it. I'm going to click on this cylinder, add modifier array. Now you'll notice that it puts it right next to each other, and all you have to do there is hit 0 on the X, and then go down and hit 1 on the Z. That will make it to where it goes up and down. Alright, now I'm going to go below it. I'm going to add a curve. On this curve, I'm going to set the curve object to the nerve's path. And I'm going to set it to be formed on the Y, I believe. Is it the Y? I always get confused on how to position this. Maybe it's Z? There we go. So now you can see that if I move it along the Z axis, oh, that's way too big. So I'm going to scale it down to about 0.5, no, 0.25, like that. I'm going to move it on the Y axis. Nope. I'm going to move it on the X axis, and then I'm going to move it just up slightly. I'm going to hit GX and position about, whoops, and I'm going to position this. Now you'll notice how I'm positioning it with the opposite axes. I'm using the Y axis to move it left and right, and I'm using the X axis to move it up and down. I think that's a design flaw, not exactly sure. And so now you'll see that if I just start clicking this, I think it was about 20 that I found. Nope. I'm going to move on the Z just to make sure. Yep. I'm going to just drag this until it goes under like that. And now you'll see that we have a perfect. Now we'll notice we can't smooth it, because if we smooth this, then it does that, because it's an array. So what we do is we make sure that that goes at least 2 under. So I'm just going to go to 30, and then I'm going to move this to where it goes all the way under, like that. Then I'm going to hit apply, apply. Now you'll see that if I hit smooth, that it still does that. So I'm going to go to subdivision surface. And you know what? It doesn't need to be smooth. It's good enough to where it doesn't need to be smooth. So that completes the modeling section. Now we need to go into texturing. We're going to start off with the ornament. I'm going to click on here. I'm going to go compositing. Now on compositing, I'm going to go to material, and I need to change to cycles up here. Now I'm going to click new. That will give us a new material with nodes. Now, basics of nodes, it's just a series. This is the output. This is the actually like material, and everything that's plugged into it will be the inputs. So I am going to delete this, and I'm going to add a glossy shader by hitting Shift A like you would an object. Shader glossy. I'm going to BSDF to surface, and now you'll see that if I hit rendered, that we have this shiny material, and I'm actually going to have to put this up to about I think I decided 0.4, but that's boring. So what we're going to do is we are going to hit Shift A, input texture coordinates, and then Shift A vector mapping. Now what this is going to allow us to do is not have to unwrap our object, so that we can texture it with ease. I'm going to put this, then now I'm just going to shift click on both of these. I'm going to hit G, move it out like that. Now I'm going to hit Shift A, texture, image texture. I'm going to move the vector from here to here to there. I'm going to get open, desktop, images 2, because I remember that's the one I had, and I'm just going to move this color attribute to the color. Now you'll see this is good, but there's one thing that we notice. It's that it's got a pattern on it, and I don't really like that pattern, but I like the colors of it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit scale on the X to 0. That'll give us that line thing. That's a very simple way to get that line effect. And then I'm just going to rotate onto the X 90 degrees so that it makes it flat. That's really all there is to it. I'm going to actually set the roughness back to 0.5. That's all there is to the ornament itself. But now we get onto the trickier part of these two up here. Alright, so I'm going to hit Shift Z so I can go back into here. I'm going to click on this, the ornamental part right there. I'm going to hit New. Now I want to keep this diffuse texture, but I'm going to add Shift A, glossy. And then I'm going to move this out, and I'm going to hit Shift A, mix. So I can add a mix shader. I'm going to combine these two together. I'm going to hit Shift Z again so I can go back here. And I'm going to set this color to a light yellow, and I'm going to set this to the gold, to almost a gold color. Now for this one, I want this one to be a bit darker. So I'm going to do like that, and then I'm just going to play around with the color a little bit. And now we can start. So you'll see if we go all the way, it does that. So I want to do about 0.75. Actually, 0.5. Alright, now that we've got this, I want to set this roughness down to 0. And make this a bit more yellow. Like that. So now that we've got this, I'm going to drag outside of a node, and I'm going to copy these 3 nodes by hitting Command C. Now I'm going to go to my other object. I'm going to create a new material, and now I'm going to delete this first. Whoops! I'm just going to delete this first node. Shift, not Shift A, like this, and I'm just going to grab all these nodes and move them off to the side. I'm going to go to Shader, Surface. And now I wanted this one to be lighter, so all I have to do is bump that up. It's about right there. Alright, that's all there is to it, really. That's texturing it. Now we need to jump into rendering it. So there's a few ways you can render this. But first of all, lighting sucks. The default light is horrible. So I'm just going to hit X to delete it, and I'm going to hit Shift A, Lamp, Hemi, or Hemi, I don't know. I'm just going to move it up. The Hemi lamp is good because it allows you to get that that similar effect where it's just all the lighting on the top. And I'm going to hit Shift D, and I'm going to rotate this like so, and I'm going to move this right here, just so we get a bit better lighting. Now I'm going to make this one the most intense light. I'm going to make this have a strength of 5. This one's going to have a strength of 1. So now if I hit 0, and F12, you'll see that first one is way too bright. Now I just rendered that on accident, so I'm going to set this to 1.5, so it's just a tad bit brighter. And with this Hemi, you can see that we've messed up on our textures, which is good. So I'm going to click on this guy, go back to compositing, and I made him way too bright. So I'm going to make this like a yellow, like a dark yellow color, and then darken it just a little bit, because I believe, yeah. And then I'm going to go to the next one. I'm going to make this a bit darker. And you'll see that I'm changing both of them, and that's because I accidentally selected the wrong material for this. Or actually I have. Why it's doing both, I'm not sure. Hold on, I think I know the solution. Yep. Alright, so I actually had selected the wrong one. This one I wanted to be darker. And there we go. That's pretty much all there is to it. Now let's render it. But we don't want this gray background. So I'm going to hit default. And I'm going to hit Shift Z to jump into render view, and I'm going to go to click on the camera. Then on here this went sidebar that you hit by hitting N, and I'm going to go to lock camera to view, and then I'm going to zoom in. That allows you to move the camera around seamlessly, and all you have to use is your viewport, so you can actually see without having to position the camera every time. You can actually see where you want it, and it's a lot simpler. But we don't want this gray background, like I said. So if I go into render settings, I'm going to go to sampling and set this to 50 because this is my final. Click square samples. I'm going to set this with this settings with a seed of 1 so that the noise randomizes itself. Then I'm going to go to film, and this is where you can brighten or darken it. I liked it at 1. You can do box blurs, you can do Gaussian blurs, and you can see kind of, but I don't really want that. and then there's this option right here, and you just click that to set it to transparent. I realized just now that my camera is too high, so I'm going to go up here, and I'm going to click on my Z, and I'm just going to move it down to about right there. Now, I'm going to hit F12 on a Mac, and I'm going to wait for this to render. So, I'll come back after I finish rendering. Alright guys, I'm back. So, the render just finished. It took about 7 minutes. That's on my laptop. It might take longer on yours. And so now, to make sure that we save this, because if you hit the escape key right now, it deletes everything. So I'm going to go to Image, Save as Image, and I'm just going to call it Untitled 2. 2. And then I'm going to hit Save as Image, and now you have saved your work. So now I'm going to go over here. This one I did with only one light, and you can see the glossy a bit better. But I played around with the settings, and I got it down to this, and I think that looks a lot better. So, thanks for watching, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. If you'd like to see our last tutorial, our texture painting in Blender, click the annotation down there. There's you'll be able to find it on our channel and just be the second most recent upload. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Don't forget to check out our website and subscribe, and then don't forget to follow us on social media. Thanks for watching.